needs to be beat down. I'm sorry. Some of these women, and I take Myron Gaines' approach on this, some of these women need to be taught the lesson that they try to tell everybody, to teach their children, oh, I'm big and bad. No, you're not. You're not big and bad. You're big, but you're not bad. It's unfortunate, the dynamics between men, black men and black women. It really is. Also, the Trey J guy, yeah, that somebody was saying to you, I don't know who it was, but you are very like that. And I'm just gonna say it from a woman. My husband is a nice guy, but he's not timid, and you do come off quite timid. Speaking about, I mean, whatever you were talking about, it comes off. And I don't want to sound, like insensitive, because I understand men have feelings as well. But unfortunately, that's not how it works. Men, I always say God played a cruel joke on humans, because I believe that God gave men more kindness than he gave women, much more kindness than he gave women. However, it's always perceived that women are much more better nurturers than men are. The problem is, for children, but the problem is women are supposed to nurture men. They are. That's something that you're supposed to do for men. And men are supposed to love women. Women are supposed to respect men. But you can't request respect. I put it in the chat. I thought that was an odd thing that you said, to request respect. That's like requesting somebody to pay you for a service. Oh, I would like to, here goes my no, you're going to pay me. That's what it's going to be. That's why you give out deposits first. You're going to pay me first, and then I'll do the rest of it, and then you'll pay me the rest. You can't request
may I respond?
respect. Who? Treasure?
Yeah, this is me.
Yeah, one second. You can't request it because it has to be demanded. It's not earned, it's given, period. And if you don't have that in you, like if you don't project that out into the world, nobody's going to do that for you. And I'm sorry, women are awful, especially us over here. We're awful, and I take full accountability for that. There's nothing you cannot request respect from women. Any woman, I don't care if they come from a different country or not, because a lot of my friends are from different countries, and they will say the same thing. They talk crazy to their men too at times, and I'm always like, well, how y'all talk to people like that? Like, what is up with that? And you're like, oh, well, he weak. He ain't nothing. I'm looking at myself, well, dang, that's crazy. Yeah, you can respond. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say that respectfully, it's a bit of a contradiction what you said. The Bible talks about, especially in Ephesians, where it says to be gentle and respectful and kind towards all. And being kind, being respectful, especially in a godly way, is what you get God's favor, is how you get God's favor. Now, granted, being a fool, I have not once said that I'm a fool for a black woman or a fool for any woman. The point of the matter is, though, I still, especially if I'm going to ask for God's favor, I still have to come with kindness, gentleness, and love, especially in a godly way. Now, how I speak is how I speak, but my heart is strong nonetheless. You can go all the way back to Abraham. Abraham was a very powerful leader, but in some respects he was timid based off of the respect that he tried to have for others. And so, I hear your point. I hear where you're coming from. And I'm still growing as a man. I'm in no way, shape, or form saying that I am complete. There's a lot of things that some of these brothers, especially I can't see his name, but the guy with the his shirt is white and blue in the picture. A lot of stuff that he said that I'm definitely gonna have to internalize and grow from as a man. Men checking other men is what it's all about. That's the brotherhood that I was talking about or referring to earlier.
Tap in, brother.
Go ahead.
Hold on. I have a question for Tidre. Were you raised by a single mom?
Trey J, yes, I was.
Trey J, I'm sorry. And yeah, that's the thing. And I think that's why when you were saying brotherhood is important, that's why I do agree, because as you said, and I've mad respect for you for saying, you know, you're still learning, you're still growing, you don't have all the answers. No one has all the answers. So especially if we're raised in a single parent household, it's like we always constantly going to have to learn so we can teach our kids, so they don't have to be in our situation 31 learning. But someone had said they wanted to ask a question.
If I could,
I'm sorry. Can I just respond to Trey J just with the point
Okay.
that the contradiction?
Sorry. If I could interject.
Yeah.
So number one, because there's a couple things I want to touch on, but number one, I actually agree with Sister Danielle. I disagree with almost everything she said, but I would agree. I'm a man. I'm 39 years old. I believe you have to demand respect. In every situation that I'm in, man or woman, child, whatever, I demand respect. There's been situations with women where they even inferred that they were going to be disrespectful. They had to get out my car in the middle of the highway. We at a restaurant, you talk crazy, I'm gone, you pay the bill. So for me, I demand respect in any and every relationship that I have. But I will say I was raised in a two-parent household. My parents are still married, and so this is something that my father imbued into me. The second issue that I want to make, and I vehemently would disagree, and yet respectfully disagree with Sister Danielle regarding the concept and idea that in order for things to go right, you must believe in God or have Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. I myself am an atheist, and I'm a very successful man in terms of my personal life and my professional life as well. The second issue is, particularly for Black people, alien religion, alien faiths, particularly the Abrahamic faiths, are a site of theological, historical, and cultural anti-Blackness. This has, of course, been validated in scholarly literature, historical literature as well. So that in itself could be very extremely problematic, that we're basing our concept of who we are, our concept of our relationship with the divine, if you believe in the divine, based on another group of people's culture, which I think is extremely problematic. The third issue that I wanted to touch on was Sister Danielle mentioned that her father, I think she said, or it may have been another sister mentioned, her father did not teach her X, Y, Z and how to be a woman, how to be a wife, so on and so forth. And that then she inferred or extrapolated that to this is the truth for Black men as a whole, or fathers as a whole. I would vehemently disagree. I'm a father. I'm a girl dad. My daughter will be 13 next month. And I have been having conversations with my daughter since the moment she could comprehend. Right. And so the circle that I run with, this is the case, right? We do know that there was a study done by the CDC that showed that Black men in America are more involved in the raising and rearing of their children than any other racial ethnic group of men in the country. So that in itself is a stereotype that needs to be what? Disputed based on facts, not based on conjecture, not based on anecdotal personal experiences, but based on facts. Number three, I had a conversation with my daughter maybe about 3 weeks ago, and we talked about stripper culture in rap. And I make a distinction between rap and hip hop because we know KRS-One taught us what? That rappers spit rhymes that are mostly illegal. MCs spit rhymes that uplift their people. So there's a difference between rap and hip hop. But I told my daughter, I said, listen, if you engage in this type, and so she had to mention who were some of the rappers that promoted stripper culture, this concept of the con game, the cash game, the sex game, and you're always trying to get something out of someone. I said, but that comes with consequences. So I said, listen, if you're out here trying to con people when you get older and somebody hits you upside your head, don't call me or your brother expecting us to put our lives online to defend your honor when you were the one going out creating problems. You know what my daughter said? Yes, sir. Right. And so this concept and idea that Black men and fathers aren't doing these things, I think is vehemently false. I think we're living in a culture in which rugged individualism is promoted. And we live in a culture in which instant gratification is not only commodified, but pedestalized as the only way that one can experience success in American life.
Preach, brother, preach.
I appreciate it. But yeah, we got to stop some of the nonsense. We got to stop some of the and I appreciate Sister Chantel for having me on the show. I've been on here before. Now, I sent you an email and I sent a DM to your Instagram because I'd like to have you on my show. But we got to keep it a buck here. Right. But I would say the one thing I do agree with Sister Danielle, you have to demand respect. I demand respect in every relationship that I have. Colleagues, children, brothers, sisters, everyone. The way I walk, the way I carry myself, the way I move in this world is rooted in the fact that I demand respect. And I'm stating this not to toot my own horn, but I've had situations where, matter of fact, this probably was three months ago. I went out with a sister. I told her I'm not into the weave and the fake nails. I said, so if you do that, don't do it when we go out. Right? She said, okay. We meet up at the restaurant. She was weaving it up. Guess what I did? I turned around and left. So your power is the dip set. You can have dinner, but it ain't gonna be with me because I got a rep to keep, and I'm not out here with somebody who look like they want to be an extra in the Spice Girls video.
And I think that's the issue. Not a lot of men are able to set their standards and stick to their standards for whatever reason. I think it's because we live in a society that coddles a woman. Oh, you always concerned about the woman feeling. You don't say anything because if you say something, then that's considered toxic masculinity.
But Chantel, is it that they're not able to, or is it that they won't?
Well, they could be a number of reasons, but I put the onus on the man. If you're going to allow yourself to be victimized, if you're going to allow yourself to be
100%,
that's on you.
100%. I think as we said earlier, you can't sit there and change a hyena. Thank you for sharing that story. You showed up at the restaurant, you told her you don't want weave. No, if you're sitting there telling her, explaining to her why she should listen to you when you say you don't want weave, you're wasting your time. And I feel like there are too many men who will sit there at the table and explaining to her why they don't want weave. And this is why I support the Passport Bros, because the Passport Bros represent a group of men who are no longer going to sit here and explain to Black women what femininity looks like and why they should be feminine. They're just leaving.
Thank you, sister.
Bye. Exactly. I don't blame y'all.
Thank you. No problem. Sorry for interrupting you, Danielle. I have to throw this example. I came back from Brazil in 2015 November. I explained to my daughter and my ex-wife, I said, I will no longer support purchasing weave. I will not contribute to my daughter's life. Like, your daughter want to get her hair done. You mean her real hair, or you mean weave? Which one?
Oh.
Well, she wanted to get no. I'm the same way. Labama said he don't mess with the weave. I don't mess with the weave. When you go to these other countries, ma'am, and you see real Black sisters, first of all, I'll tell you right now, I'm messing with a Black Venezuelan, hair down, butt cheeks, very big butt cheeks, okay, real. When you
could call me L Boogie for short.
Okay, L Boogie, all right. So you mentioned you were atheist, that's fine. But I'll ask you this. Well, I'll say something first. So when the Asians came over here, when they immigrated to America a while back, the American, the white man, whatever you want to call him, he said, they didn't want him here because they thought they were dangerous. Because, in California, the Asians.
Well, they were dealing with, xenophobia, anti-Asian discrimination.
But they were dangerous. They thought they were dangerous, but they weren't. So when they got over here, they're considered the model minority. Mm-hmm. And I have Asian friends, and I say, well, what's wrong with that? And they say, well, I'm gonna be real with you. I am not woke at all. All that white supremacy stuff, or the white. I'm sorry, no offense to people who are like that. That's not me. That's not me. I don't.
What's your question, though, sis?
So I want to know, why do you think that when they came here, that they are literally underneath the Nigerians are the hardest working, the most successful minority, but the minority that is here that has, mind you, we have affirmative action. Women do too. I mean, obviously it was for white women first. You can literally go to college for being Black. You can literally go to college for
Hold on. Can you give me an example of that?
For going to college for being Black?
Yeah. Can you give me an example where you could go to college simply because you're Black?
Yeah. So my cousin, who is I think he's an officer in the military Air Force. Mm-hmm. He owns 9 houses. He's 30 years old.
Okay.
And he went to Bethune-Cookman. We live in Florida. Go Florida. So he went to Bethune-Cookman first, free scholarship because he was Black, and then he transferred to FAMU, which I. Okay.
So what was the name of that scholarship?
I don't know. I can't.
Because you don't get the scholarships based on your race. I know this because I work in higher education. I've been working in higher ed the past 10 years, and I'm a professor of African American history at a higher education institution in Ohio. So I know that is a patently false statement, but go right ahead with your question.
So you don't go to school for being a minority?
No, you can't just get a scholarship based on your minority status. One, you have to qualify based on what your test scores.
Of course, yes, but he didn't have to have as high as, even though, don't get me wrong.
Let's put this in context. Bethune-Cookman, Bethune-Cookman University. Shout out to Mary McLeod Bethune, because of course she's the one who helped create that institution that became Bethune-Cookman.
Okay.
Bethune-Cookman University, if I remember correctly, is maybe a private institution, but the admission standards aren't as high as a place like Ohio State, Yale, Harvard, et cetera, et cetera. So when you go to an institution in which the admission standards aren't as high, you're able to get into those institutions as even though your test scores and grades aren't as high as they would be to get into another institution. So, but it has nothing to do with a person's race, because there are many HBCUs in which the majority of the students there are white. Bloomfield University.
Wait, Danielle, can you clarify? Is this what you meant? Yona, shout out to Yona, has said, I think she meant means there are a lot of grants from, because there are a lot of scholarships for minorities.
Yes, there's a lot of grants for being a minority. Absolutely.
Okay.
That's that thing.
So, but what's the question?
So why do you think that other people who come over here do what they need to do, but black men and black women, we are here? This is
I can answer that.
Hold on. Let her answer the question, and then I'm going to tap in.
Okay, but 1 second. This is our country. Ours. Yeah. Whether we were brought here or not,
that's debatable.
Our country. This is our country. This is our
Sounds
country.
Good.
You are an American. Whether you, I don't call myself African American. I actually have a
ma'am, if you could just answer the question. We don't need to get into your personal preference or what your identity is.
So yes, that's what I want to know. Why do when people come over here, they do what they need to do, but when we're here, we don't? Why is it that? Because Trey J mentioned.
Hold on. You asked the question. Let me answer it. Okay, this is ask and answer, not ask, lecture, and then hopefully I can answer. Okay, so just keep it a buck here. You said you believe in doing things in the order of God. That's what you stated. So let's make sure we keep that in line. So number one, in every community, you have individuals who handle their business, who are consistently dependable, reliable, and responsible. And you have individuals in communities that don't. The same goes for the Asian American community, the Nigerian American community, the Haitian American community, the white American community, the Latino American community, etc. One of the issues we have in our community is that this imagery of Black people engaging in racially self-defeating, disempowering, and self-destructive behavior is what is promoted to us on a regular basis. It is what's promoted to us via entertainment, right? And so this is not the reality of all African Americans, right? However, the segment of the African American community that does engage in this type of behavior, this is what is promoted through the mainstream media. Now, because I work in higher education, I've come across students of all racial and ethnic backgrounds who struggle academically, who are irresponsible. I can state this as someone who formerly worked in student conduct at 2 Tier 1 institutions in the state of Ohio. I won't name what those institutions are. 95% of all the cases we received in student conduct were white students and Asian students. So this concept and idea of, it's Black people, we effing up and we're not handling our business, other people are, is a misnomer.
Okay. Also, I want to.
Before you go, make sure you hit the subscribe and like button. Thank you for supporting the channel. And remember, here at Lumumba Speaks, we always bet on Black. Peace.